years, thereby contributing to the Gambia's achievement of MDG 1C.
The project has the following two specific objectives, each linked to an implementing agency. 1. Increasing household food security and income of participating farmers through enhanced crop productivity and reduction of post-harvest losses. And 2. Enhancing nutritional status of targeted school children, that's pre-primary and primary schools, through school feeding program.
According to FAO, about 20% of infants have low birth weights and 20.3% of children under 5 years are underweight. This situation is likely attributed to reduced food intakes and inadequate food utilization, limited knowledge on nutrition, and poor health status and hygiene practices.
According to the Comprehensive Food Security and Vulnerability Analysis of 2011, 11% of the total population is considered food insecure or vulnerable to food insecurity. In the Gambia, the food insecurity and poverty have marked a geographic dimension. There is a higher proportion of poor, food insecure or vulnerable populations in several districts of the country, especially CRR, LRR, NBR, and URR.
The number of hungry people in the world remains very high. Household food insecurity has aggravated the prevalence of acute and chronic malnutrition, which is particularly affecting children under 5 years.
The Gambia has set a target of a 6% annual growth in agricultural production in order to achieve the MDG. The latest results show that the Gambia will most probably fail to meet this target by 2015 due to the non-availability of improved seeds, due to high post-harvest losses, erratic and inadequate rainfall, a very limited use of available water for irrigation.
It is anticipated that this project will contribute towards reducing the fraction of people suffering from hunger and will increase household food nutrition security by improving good nutritional practices and access to food and improving crop production. Reporting for Grts News, I am Abdullah Baji.
We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia after this break.
RLG Communications Gambia Limited wishes you all a Ramadan Mubarak. This Ramadan, RLG offers you a gift with every phone or laptop you buy. Gifts include dates, sugar, mugs, milk, and pens. Visit our showroom on 62 Caraba Avenue, opposite the Pipeline Mosque. Or you can find our sales agents at St. Teresa's Upper Basic School, Chippa Garage Car Park, at Westfield, or in Banjul opposite the Albert Market main gate. For more information, please call 437-1170 or 744-9106. A blessed Ramadan from RLG.
RLG, proudly yours.
Welcome back. The African Union has called on both sides in Zimbabwe to respect the outcome of the elections. The plea from the continental body came as Prime Minister Morgan Tsvangirai accused Robert Mugabe of fraud during the elections. And Senegal's President Macky Sall has inaugurated the country's first toll-paying highway. We have details of these and other stories in this roundup.
Results from Zimbabwe's presidential election are still not in, but supporters of incumbent President Robert Mugabe are already proclaiming victory. So far, Mr. Mugabe has 75% of the votes. His rival, Prime Minister Morgan Tsvangirai, has accused Mr. Mugabe of fraud. His accusations, however, have found little support among international observers from the African Union. The head of the mission, Olusegun Obasanjo, said voting was free and transparent. The AU has called on both sides to respect the outcome. Cameroon is aiming to improve aviation security in the country. The military is engaged in a series of exercises simulating the search and rescue mission for passengers whose plane has crashed. Today's exercise took a little under 2.5 hours. Authorities say this is still too long. The government launched the initiative after coming under pressure from the international community to improve aviation security. In 2007, the crash of a Kenyan plane near Douala revealed major lapses in security and faulty rescue procedures. A highway linking Dakar and Diamniadio has been inaugurated by Senegalese President Macky Sall. It is the first toll-paying highway in the country. The aim is to reduce traffic congestion in the capital. The project, which cost 380 billion CFA francs, required the relocation of some 30,000 people. Many Senegalese are none too happy about it, calling the toll of 1,400 CFA francs excessive.
Former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi is lashing out a High Court ruling upholding his 5-year prison sentence for tax fraud. In a 9-minute video rant, Berlusconi called Thursday's decision completely unfounded. Silvio Berlusconi is no stranger to scandal, and CNN's Becky Anderson looks back at his colorful lifestyle.
Scenes of celebration on November the 12th, 2011. Italians had just learned that Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi was stepping down. Many blamed their colourful leader for the country's economic woes. And were also fed up with the scandals that plagued his 17-year political career. Since he was first elected Prime Minister in 1994, Berlusconi has faced allegations of tax fraud, bribery and paying for sex with an underage prostitute that have reached the courts.
It is absurd to think that I have paid to have a rapport with a woman. It is something that I have never done, not even once in my life. I find it degrading for my dignity.
In fact, he's always denied every allegation against him, and in some cases, charges were dropped or he was cleared. But in October last year, one charge stuck. Berlusconi was convicted of tax fraud. Undaunted, the flamboyant 76-year-old businessman has not only launched an appeal, but in December made 2 significant announcements. His engagement to 27-year-old Francesca Pascali, and then his political comeback. The 3-time Prime Minister appealed to Italian voters by denouncing the unpopular austerity policies of technocrat Mario Monti. For all of his critics, Berlusconi won almost 30% of the vote in February and remains an influential figure in Enrico Letta's fragile coalition government. It's a union made all the more uneasy by Berlusconi's ongoing legal fights and staging of rallies like this, where he accused the judiciary of bias, drawing cheers from supporters. President, we are with you, they sing. Thank goodness Silvio is here. Becky Anderson, CNN, London.
White House Press Secretary Jay Carney says the Obama administration is extremely disappointed that NSA leaker Edward Snowden has been granted asylum in Russia. As we hear in this CFI report, the move by Russia has escalated tension between the White House and the Kremlin.
Are tense between Russia and the United States over the granting of asylum by Moscow to Edward Snowden. His ticket to freedom after 1 month in the Moscow airport gives him at least 1 year in Russia.
We are extremely disappointed that the Russian government would take this step despite our very clear and lawful requests in public and in private to have Mr. Snowden expelled to the United States to face the charges against him.
On the streets of New York, people were equally disappointed. The former NSA consultant sent confidential documents to WikiLeaks and is now with the Russian.
I think it shows Russia's true colors. I think it's too bad that that happened.
Besides being messed up, I guess they give him asylum because he can give them the secrets that America has, which is, of course, going to be adversarial for us. But that is interesting.
Edward Snowden living in Russia is a relief for Amnesty International, but is also surprising.
Yes, this is a very strange situation. And the irony is that a man requested asylum in a country that certainly is not at the top of the list of countries that obey human rights and international human rights laws.
The decision to grant asylum to Edward Snowden could cast a shadow on the next Moscow-Washington talks scheduled for September.
The outgoing vice chairman of the JFA Normalization Committee has urged the new executive